In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
On Saturday, October 16th, 2004, I presided at the wedding of good friends on Cape Cod. It was a lovely wedding of two great people. Wonderful food, fun music. The only drawback was that we were all following the score of the Red Sox game. And they eventually lost 19-8 to fall behind the Yankees 3-0 in the American League Championship Series. Anybody else remember that night? Now, as a lifelong die-hard Red Sox fan who had lived through the disappointments of 1975, 1978, 1986, and all of the less memorable seasons in between, I knew this feeling well. The familiar feeling that things weren't going to work out how I wanted them to work out. My hopes and expectations would be left stranded on third base when the final out was made. Now, I actually believe that frustrations like that one, which ultimately is only about baseball, are rooted in a deeper sense of disappointment that hits us early in life, when we discover that things are not how we thought they were going to be. People can be mean to each other. People can be racist. There's war. There's poverty. There's death. I remember Jenny and I trying to help Adam understand the Holocaust when he first learned about it in school. That sense that things aren't right grows as we learn more about the world. We notice it when our team doesn't win the big game, but it can almost numb our senses when we see 24/7 coverage of bad, depressing news. That feeling also taps into our heritage as people of faith. The ancient Hebrews knew what it was like when they were in slavery in Egypt, and it followed them as they wandered in the wilderness for decades. The Israelites knew it when they suffered in captivity in Babylon after their homes and cities were taken away. The people in Jesus' day knew the frustration of things not being how they wanted them to be as they lived under the oppression of a foreign empire based in faraway Rome. And the early Christians were well acquainted too, as they faced persecution at the hands of that same empire. During Easter season this year, we've been hearing each week from the book of Revelation. This last book of the Bible was written by someone called John, who lived on the Greek island of Patmos during the time of Emperor Domitian, who persecuted Christians. John experienced a series of visions which he wrote down. And here's what God says to him, to this Christian prophet who believed in the reign of justice and peace which Jesus proclaimed, but who experienced the brutality of oppression and persecution. Here's what God says. And just as a reminder, we're in the second to last chapter of the last book of the Bible. If you've been reading from the start, from the book of Genesis and the story of creation, you're now on the second to last page of the Bible. And here's what God says. See, I am making all things new. I am making all things new. When we're discouraged, frustrated, feeling like things are never going to be how we want them to be, when we're afraid and ready to give up and to close ourselves off from hope, God speaks to us. I am making all things new. We are called to believe in what God is still doing, even when we're beset by that old sense of trouble. Jesus was among us as one of us and may have experienced that same feeling when he looked at the world around him, maybe even more than anyone else. He knew that the only way things could become what God wanted, what in the depth of our humanity we all truly want, was through love. So in order to align with God's work in making all things new, he gave them a new commandment. He points the way with a new approach to life. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. The antidote to that spirit-crushing feeling of loss and dis-ease is love. Jesus sends us out into the world to be the antidote, to be the sign that God is making all things new. A new commandment directed towards a new life. Whether it's the Red Sox or something far more serious, we all struggle with the reality of brokenness in the world, the places where we fall short of the kingdom Jesus promises. Even still, Jesus makes it clear. The best way to overcome that feeling is by loving the world and our neighbors. I'm grateful for all the ways I see that happening right here at St. Paul's. And I look forward to growing in faith with you as we strive to follow that commandment together. And of course, we all remember that the Red Sox came back in 2004 to beat the Yankees 4 straight times and then sweep the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. If that could happen, then anything is possible. Amen.
Amen.